Hi, in this week's video we're going to be cleaning a Game Boy Advance power switch. So here's my Game Boy Advance, and it does work okay, but it's a good few years old, so it's probably going to be a bit dirty. So first things first, what we need to do is get a little bit of solder wick and a little bit of flux. So we put the flux on one end, get your soldering iron on around about 360 with a big tip, and then just get the solder wick on the end and then just leave it on, and if it's decent solder wick it should be able to take away all the solder without any issues. And then you just give it a little poke with the pair of tweezers and you can see there's a bit of movement. So all I need to do now is just be able to prise this a little bit out. So I'll just readjust it in the camera, just focus in. And then you can see that the metal piece bends underneath the plastic. So that just needs very gently bending out. So it bends out a little bit like this. And then we just need to lift up. And then that's perfect. So that's now being released on one side. We don't have to do both sides. All we need to do now is lift this piece of metal up and it will bend over, and then we can remove the sliding switch. And as you can see, there's a bit of gunk and grime in there and a bit of dirt on the contacts on the other side. So we're going to go through now and give it a good clean. So first thing I'm going to do is going to put a little bit of isopropyl alcohol on it just to get the initial grime off. As you can see, there's still a lot of dirt on it, so we still need to add a little bit more. So the next step is we're going to get a microfiber pen, and then we just very carefully make sure we get into the edges and then push it down and then give it a good clean. And we don't want to go overboard because we don't want to be rubbing away too much of the trace, but we're just getting rid of the top layer of all the dirt and grime, and then it only takes a couple of seconds, and as you can see it's almost as good as new already. So just be careful with the microfiber pen because you don't really want to be breathing in any of the particles. So then we just give it another clean of isopropyl, so that part's done. Now we'll just go to the slider. So this bit you can see is full of grime as well. So I'm just going to spin it around, get it into a better position. So get a better pair of tweezers. First off, I'll give it a little clean with some isopropyl. So these 2 points are very delicate, so you need to be really careful. And then I'll very carefully just go over it with the microfiber pen again. If you go too rough, you're going to bend it or you're going to snap them. So just make sure you go in the direction that they're laying. Give it another gentle clean of isopropyl, and as you can see it's looking brand new. So make sure it's all in position and then we can pop it back in. So get the board back, just get the switch, get it into position there, pop it in, push it down, and then it's as simple as bending over this metal tab that we released before. So push that right down. We just need to push it into the corner where it was released from the plastic, and then we're almost there. Then we'll add a little bit more flux, get our soldering iron out with a nice bit of solder already pre-tinned, and then just pop it on, and then that's pretty much all we need to do. Hold it on for a couple of seconds, plenty of solder, and now it's nice and solid. As you can see, it's moving nice and smooth, there's no issues there, so I don't have any doubts that it's going to work perfect. One final clean of isopropyl all around the area just to remove all the excess flux, and then we can pop it back into its housing, get it all into position, put the back plate on. So we've got the battery terminals. We don't need to pop any screws in, we just need to put in 2 batteries, flip the switch, and then there we go, it's turning on. And I can just flip it on and off, constant, give it a wiggle, there's no jittering, there's no issues. We've now got a perfectly working switch on the Game Boy Advance, which hopefully is going to last us another 20 plus years. So thanks very much for watching, please like, comment and subscribe.